I got fired yesterday.
For what?
We need to have a conversation.
Look, if you know a good lawyer, you call him.
I need your help.
I made a pretty sizable investment with Cammy.
An investment you'll lose.
If you lose this, the thing you love the most, that's the first thing I'll take.
Something about the From Season 4 trailer feels deeply unsettling. Not because it gives us answers, but because it quietly confirms our worst fears. The more you watch it, the more you realize that this season is not about escaping the town anymore. It is about understanding the rules of death, time, and sacrifice. And if those rules are real, then Jim's death might be far more permanent than any of us want to believe. The moment the From Season 4 trailer begins, it becomes very clear that the show is moving into much darker territory. There's a heavy feeling throughout the trailer, as if the town itself has changed. The silence feels louder, the characters look more broken, and hope feels more fragile than ever before. What immediately stands out is how the trailer does not rush to show monsters or violence. Instead, it focuses on faces, reactions, and moments of realization. This tells me that Season 4 is going to be more psychological than ever, and that the real danger might not come from the creatures outside, but from the truth slowly revealing itself. One of the most important things the trailer does is confirm that Jim's death is not being brushed aside or undone quickly. We do not see him alive. We do not see signs of rescue or reversal. What we do see is the emotional aftermath. Julie looks completely changed, not just physically, but mentally. Boyd carries guilt heavier than before. Tabitha's expressions are filled with grief and determination at the same time. The trailer makes it very clear that Jim's death is a turning point for everyone, especially for Julie. This alone tells us that the show is treating his death as something real and meaningful, not as a trick or temporary shock. Another detail that cannot be ignored is the continued presence of the man in yellow. Even though he is barely shown, his influence is everywhere. The trailer uses subtle hints rather than direct appearances, which makes him even more terrifying. It feels like he is no longer just a monster, but a force that understands the rules of the town better than anyone else. The fact that he was able to kill Jim during the daytime already broke what we thought were fixed rules, and the trailer strongly suggests that those rules will continue to be challenged. This raises a very uncomfortable question. If the rules can change, then what is actually protecting anyone anymore? The trailer also leans heavily into the idea of time in stories. We hear dialogue that sounds reflective, almost regretful, as if characters are questioning past choices and wondering if things could have gone differently. This directly connects to Julie being a story walker. However, instead of giving us clarity, the trailer adds more confusion. There are moments where Julie seems out of place, almost like she does not fully belong in the present moment. This brings back the painful idea that maybe she did try to save Jim and failed. And if that is true, then the trailer might be quietly confirming Ethan's words that stories cannot be changed, no matter how badly we want them to be. What makes this even more heartbreaking is how the trailer avoids giving us comfort. There is no heroic music, no moment that feels like a victory. Everything feels tense and unresolved. This tells me that Season 4 is not about easy answers. It is about consequences. Jim's death seems to be one of those consequences, and the trailer strongly hints that the town demands a price for every step forward. If that is the case, then Season 4 might finally force the characters, and us, to accept that not everyone can be saved. And this is only the beginning, because if Jim's death is truly permanent, then the biggest question is no longer how to escape the town. The real question becomes whether understanding the truth will cost even more lives. One of the most haunting parts of the From Season 4 trailer is how strongly it brings our attention back to Julie and her connection to time, stories, and impossible choices. Ever since we learned that Julie is a story walker, the entire meaning of past events has started to feel unstable. But instead of using this power as a way to bring hope, the trailer seems to frame it as a curse. Julie does not look empowered or confident. She looks lost, exhausted, and weighed down by knowledge she never asked for. This alone tells us that whatever she has learned about the past, it is not something that can be easily fixed. The trailer gives the impression that Julie knows more than she is saying, and that knowledge may be directly tied to Jim's death. What makes Julie's situation even more disturbing is how the show continues to respect Ethan's rules about stories. Ethan has never been wrong so far, and the trailer does nothing to suggest that his understanding of the town is flawed. If anything, it strengthens it. The idea that storywalkers cannot change stories feels more solid than ever. Julie appearing next to Jim before he dies now feels less like a rescue attempt and more like a moment of acceptance. It is possible that Julie did not go back to save her father, but to witness his death again, knowing it couldn't be stopped. This is a terrifying thought, because it means the town allows people to revisit trauma without giving them the power to prevent it. The trailer subtly hints that time in this town does not move in a straight line. There are moments where characters speak as if events are repeating, or as if they have already lived through certain moments before. This raises the possibility that Julie's ability is not about changing the past, but about understanding why the past must happen the way it does. If that is true, then her role in Season 4 might be far more tragic than heroic. Instead of being the one who saves everyone, she might be the one who learns why some sacrifices are unavoidable. Another detail that stands out is how isolated Julie feels in the trailer. She is often shown alone or separated from others, both emotionally and physically. This could mean that she is carrying the burden of multiple timelines or memories that no one else can understand. If Julie has seen different versions of the same events, then Jim's death might not be the only loss she has experienced. This would explain why she seems so different from before, and why her wound feels symbolic rather than just physical. That wound may be a reminder that every time she walks through a story, something is taken from her in return. The trailer also quietly connects Julie's journey to Boyd's past experience in the well. Julie helping Boyd escape raises a very important question that the show still refuses to answer clearly. Was the past changed, or was that always meant to happen? Season 4 seems ready to confront this question directly. If the past cannot be changed, then Julie lowering that rope was not an act of free will, but a fixed moment in the story. This idea makes everything feel more controlled and more cruel. It suggests that the town already knows who will live, who will die, and who will suffer trying to understand why. What makes this even more unsettling is the emotional cost. Julie's ability does not make her stronger, it makes her more vulnerable. Knowing the future without being able to stop it is one of the worst punishments imaginable. The trailer's tone makes it very clear that Season 4 will explore this pain deeply. Julie is not being prepared to fight monsters. She is being forced to face the truth that love and effort might not be enough to change fate. And by the end of the trailer, it becomes clear that time itself might be one of the town's greatest weapons. It traps people in cycles of hope and loss, making them believe that answers are within reach, while quietly enforcing rules that cannot be broken. Julie stands at the center of this mystery, not as a savior, but as a witness. And if the show is truly heading in this direction, then Season 4 may finally confirm something we have been afraid to admit. In this town, knowing the truth does not set you free. It only shows you how little control you ever had. One of the most emotionally powerful ideas hinted at in the From Season 4 trailer is the deep connection between Jade and Tabitha and how their past lives may be finally catching up to them. The trailer does not explain this directly, but it does something even more effective. It shows us two people who look like they are slowly remembering something they were never meant to forget. There is a heaviness in the way they speak, move, and react, as if pieces of a much older story are rising back to the surface. This strongly supports the idea that their bond goes far beyond this lifetime, and that their purpose in the town has always been tied to the children. The concept of reincarnation changes everything about how we view Jade and Tabitha. If they have truly lived this story before, then the town is not randomly trapping people, it is calling them back. The trailer seems to confirm this by focusing on repetition. We hear dialogue about things feeling familiar, about paths being walked before, about mistakes being repeated. This suggests that Jade and Tabitha are not here by chance, but because they failed once already, and now they are being given another opportunity, or perhaps another test, to do what they could not do before. What makes this idea both hopeful and terrifying is the role of the children. Saving the children feels like the most important goal anyone in the town could have. It feels pure and meaningful. But the trailer makes it clear that this path will not be easy or safe. The children are not shown as simple victims. They are presented as part of the town's deeper mystery. This raises the possibility that saving them might come with a terrible cost. Jade and Tabitha may have to sacrifice something deeply personal in order to succeed, possibly even each other. Jade's connection to music is especially important here. Even though the trailer only hints at it, the idea that music can guide, gather, or awaken the children feels symbolic rather than literal. Music has always been a way to connect emotions through time, and in a story built on reincarnation and memory, that matters. Jade's violin may not just be an instrument, it may be a
As the From Season 4 trailer continues to unfold, it becomes impossible to ignore how central Boyd's journey is becoming to the future of the town. From the very beginning of the show, Boyd has represented order, leadership, and hope. He is the one who tried to create rules, systems, and safety in a place that does not want to be controlled. But the trailer makes it painfully clear that Season 4 is going to test Boyd more than ever before. There is a sense that the town is no longer simply reacting to people's actions, but actively pushing back, especially against those who challenge it the most. The image of Boyd's retirement house from the Polaroid is one of the most important clues we have moving forward. It represents a future that was promised but never delivered. The missing boat in that image is not just a small detail, it feels like a deliberate message. The boat symbolizes escape, freedom, and movement forward. Its absence suggests that the town may be removing options one by one, forcing the characters to confront the possibility that there is no simple way out. This connects directly to the Lake of Tears story that Ethan told early in the series. Stories in this town always come true in unexpected ways, and the trailer seems to be preparing us for the idea that crossing water will be a major turning point. Water, in many stories, represents transition, but in From, it may also represent loss. The Lake of Tears does not sound like a place of salvation, it sounds like a place where something must be given up. The trailer hints that Boyd may be the one who has to lead people across this threshold, whether he is ready or not. What makes this especially tragic is that Boyd has already lost so much. His health, his family, and his sense of certainty have all been slowly stripped away. Asking him to make another impossible choice feels cruel, but very fitting for the town. The trailer also suggests that the town itself is becoming more aggressive and more personal. We see fewer random attacks and more targeted suffering. Characters are being pushed emotionally rather than physically. This is especially true for the side characters, who are starting to feel less like background figures and more like pieces in a larger plan. Marielle, in particular, stands out. Her presence has always felt unsettling, and the trailer does nothing to ease those fears. There is a quiet darkness around her, as if something inside her does not fully belong to the person Christy remembers. The idea that Marielle may be influencing Christy in dangerous ways feels more possible than ever. Christy is shown struggling, torn between her identity as a healer and the emotional chaos surrounding her. If Marielle is truly connected to something evil, then Season 4 could explore how the town uses love and guilt as tools of manipulation. Making someone harm another person through emotional pressure would be far more devastating than any monster attack. And if such a tragedy were to happen, it would likely involve someone deeply connected to the town, someone whose loss would affect everyone. The possibility of Kenny's death hangs heavily over the trailer, even without direct confirmation. The trailer also introduces new energy through the arrival of Sophia, the pastor's daughter. While very little is shown, her presence feels intentional. Characters like Sophia often represent innocence or faith, but in From, those qualities rarely remain untouched. The trailer subtly suggests that new arrivals are not just victims, but potential catalysts. Sophia could bring comfort to some, while unknowingly carrying darkness of her own. The town has a way of corrupting belief, and a character rooted in faith may be especially vulnerable. What ties all of these elements together is the feeling that the town is tightening its grip. Season 4 does not feel like a continuation of the same struggle. It feels like an escalation. Boyd's leadership is being challenged, relationships are being tested, and the emotional cost of survival is rising. The trailer does not promise answers, it promises consequences. And the most frightening part is that the town no longer feels reactive, it feels strategic. By the end of the trailer, it becomes clear that the characters are not just fighting to survive another night, they are being pushed toward choices that will define the entire story. Boyd stands at the center of this storm, carrying the weight of everyone's hope, while the town quietly prepares to take something else from him. Season 4 is shaping up to be the moment where leadership, faith, and love are all tested at once. And if the lake of tears truly awaits them, then the journey ahead may demand a sacrifice that no one is prepared to make. As the From Season 4 trailer comes to an end, it leaves us with a feeling that is very difficult to shake. It is not excitement in the usual sense, it is something heavier, something closer to dread mixed with anticipation. And this feeling becomes even stronger when we connect the emotional weight of the trailer with what we now know about the official release window. Season 4 is confirmed to arrive in 2026, and while an exact month has not yet been revealed, all signs point toward a summer release. This long wait feels intentional, as if the creators know that what comes next needs time, not just in production, but in preparation for the audience as well. Post-production for a show like From is not just about visual effects, it's about pacing, atmosphere, and silence. The trailer alone shows how much care is being taken with these elements. Every pause, every look, and every unfinished sentence feels deliberate. This suggests that Season 4 is being crafted to slowly unravel the story rather than rush toward an ending. The summer 2026 window makes sense when we consider how much groundwork the show has already laid. This season doesn't need spectacle, it needs precision. What is especially interesting is how the trailer avoids confirming whether Season 4 will bring resolution or push the mystery even deeper. This uncertainty feels very on brand for From. Instead of promising answers, the trailer promises confrontation. Characters will finally be forced to face the truth about the town, about themselves, and about the cost of survival. Jim's death sits at the center of this confrontation. The trailer does not treat his death as a mystery to be solved, but as a reality to be lived with. This strongly suggests that Season 4 will focus less on undoing the past and more on understanding why the past happened the way it did. The trailer also hints that the story may be entering its final phase, even if the show itself does not end with Season 4. There is a sense of closing loops and returning to beginnings. Ethan's stories, Boyd's leadership, Jade and Tabitha's reincarnation, and Julie's role as a story walker all feel like threads that are finally being pulled together. This does not mean everything will be explained clearly. In fact, it likely means the opposite. From has always believed that understanding comes at a price, and Season 4 seems to be ready to collect. One of the most unsettling ideas the trailer leaves us with is that escape may no longer be the ultimate goal. Instead, the focus appears to be